Hello. Today's stories come from r/MaliciousCompliance. We've got 3 stories starting with You want me to search for non existent products? Got it. 3 years ago, I was working in a popular local cafe in the middle of a big city. Obviously, there were a lot of customers during rush hours. And of course, the usual Karens. At the time of this story, I was just finishing my training to be fully hired. The manager, Steve, was an utterly obnoxious person who was overall very disturbing. He'd tell us to do something, then change his mind while we were halfway through it. Anyway, he wasn't exactly competent, but we were low on staff and the owner desperately needed a manager. So this one day, I'm just clocking in and I see my first clients are a bunch of kids and their Karen of a mom. Yes, she had the haircut. The following conversation ensued. What are your muffin flavors? We have, and I proceeded to name all the muffin flavors. Karen interrupts me. No. I'll just take one of those special edition muffins. She points to the back of the kitchen like she's expecting me to make them for her. Oh, sorry, those are limited edition muffins. We don't have them anymore. She rolls her eyes. Yeah, I know. Just give me 5 of them. So a bit louder, because I think maybe she didn't hear me. We don't have those anymore, ma'am. I'm sorry. Just give me them. What's wrong with you? Get me your manager. Now, at this point, I'm pretty upset because this woman is screaming at me at the top of her lungs and gathering all the attention towards her. So I do as she asked and get her the manager. Steve looks mad as soon as I disturb him. He goes to see the Karen and comes back to me. Steve says, just give her the muffins, now. We don't have any of those muffins left. I already explained that to her. There are some left, just find them. Where are they? I'm pretty positive we don't have any left. Steve says, I don't care about your opinion, just find them already. Ask others to help you find them if you're that dumb. And don't go back to that lady or any other clients until you find those muffins. Thinking about what he just said, I say, okay, sir, I'll give her the muffins. Steve says, that's better. So I go and try to find them everywhere in the store. Of course, there is none left as the muffins are seasonal items, and since none arrived in stock, there is no special edition muffins left. Cue malicious compliance. Since Steve told me to not go back to that lady or any other clients until I found the muffins, I do exactly that. Since he also told me to ask others for help, I make sure to let every employee know my desperate need for help in finding the muffins. In the end, since no one liked Steve anyway, we all went searching for the muffins. For several hours, clients kept pouring in until one of them dared to ask what we were all doing running around. I calmly explained that our manager sent us searching for something and we couldn't work until we found it. I insisted that our hands were tied and we couldn't serve them until our manager said so. Every single client went banging on Steve's door, demanding to talk to him. As soon as he opened the door, everyone started yelling at him to let the employees serve them. Visibly confused by so many people in the cafe and in front of him, he shouted my name. I wasn't allowed to stop searching, so I replied by yelling back too. He eventually came in front of me and asked me what the F was going on. The following conversation was priceless. Oh, I was just searching for the muffins. Steve, looking like he was about to pass out. What? Why? Well, you asked me to find them and to get help if needed. You insisted I shouldn't go serve anyone until I find them. Since we never found them, we never got back to work again. Steve, realizing he just lost hours of profits. Seriously? Go back to work now. Me, with a smug on my face. But we didn't find the muffins yet, sir. Would you like to search with us? Steve went ballistic on me, saying that this was insubordination, that I had the IQ of a slug, etc. Meanwhile, the Karen sent multiple complaints to the owner about the manager. At the end of the day, the owner personally came in to announce to Steve he was fired and replaced by one of my coworkers. We never had any other seasonal muffins after that. Gosh. I think my favorite part was when Steve said, I don't care about your opinion. Pretty sure the absence of the seasonal muffins was a fact and not an opinion. Steve is obviously the idiot here. There's a fun anecdote in the comments that might be even better than the never to be found muffins. Let's check it out. Someone had this to share. 10 to 12 years ago, I'm working in a tire retread plant as a warehouse manager. New boss walks up to me to ask me a question about some product. Sees the forklift I'm using is missing a few chunks of rubber on the tires. Now, I don't know if he was trying to be funny or being serious, but he asks me one of the dumbest things I had heard to date. What happened to the tires on the forklift? What do you mean? There are chunks missing. Yes, I can see that. What happened to them? Maybe they chunked off coming out of a trailer, or someone ran over a rack anchor, or maybe someone hit something while driving outside. They've been like that for months now. Well, find them. I need to know what happened to them. Find them? How do I find them? Just find them, okay? And he walks off. I'm thinking, seriously? Find a chunk of rubber in a tire retread plant warehouse? Where they grind away old tires and put on new tires? Surrounded by junk tires, missing chunks from them, trying to retread them? So I found the chunks, at least a good 20 some odd good sized ones. Strips with metal threads, random bits from outside. Took them all into his office and set them all on his desk, lined up like a police line looking for a culprit. What are you doing? Why are you setting those on my desk? Are any of these the chunks of rubber you're looking for? Do any of them look familiar? Our second story is Father's Day compliance. 18 years ago, not about, trust me, I know this one to the date. I was over at Dad's house and I needed a wrench, and coming from a long line of mechanics, I knew he'd have one available as I didn't have my kid in my car, so I asked to borrow one. Dad, of course, said yes, handed me the mechanic's toolbox, and just out of habit, I opened it and immediately noticed that a Craftsman 716 ratchet end wrench was missing. Again, I come from a long line of mechanics. Every tool has its place, be it in a drawer, box, or outlined on a pegboard. And I thought it was weird that Dad lost a wrench out of the spare house tool kit. You're missing a 716, I pointed out, showing him the missing slot. Now, Dad, being Dad, just had to bust on me a bit, so looking me dead in the eyes and beaming a huge smile, he responded, "It was there when I gave it to you." Mind you, I hadn't left the kitchen. I hadn't so much as shifted my feet. I knew he was lying. He knew he was lying. But it had been ingrained in me since childhood that losing a tool is a death sentence. Now, I knew he was busting my balls and I let it go. But from that day forward, anytime we needed something, he'd make a comment like, "Sure wish I had that 7/16 wrench that coyote lost." Or, "You know what would fix it? That missing 7/16 wrench." This went on for months. So one day, he made the usual tease me for losing a tool comment, and I warned him. I looked him in the eyes and said, "Say it one more time, old man, and you're going to get that wrench every birthday, Father's Day, and Christmas for the rest of your natural life." A few hours passed. I asked him to hand me a tool, and he said, "I can't. You lost it. Remember?" I laughed and played it off, but it was on. And that was 18 years ago. Today, being Father's Day, he just received his 52nd Craftsman's Ratchet End 7/16 wrench. Since that day, he's tried telling me that he knows that I didn't lose it. I knew that already. That I don't need to buy it. Oh, I fracking do. And he's occasionally tried to say it was a different size or item to get a different present. But we both know that's not happening. They're everywhere. Every coffee can, junk drawer, cabinet, toolbox, pegboard, or spare nail in the house and garage contains a Craftsman 7/16 ratchet and wrench. You know how they say you're never more than 8 feet from a spider? Well, in Dad's world, you're never more than 7 feet from a Craftsman 7/16 ratchet and wrench. Because there are at least 2 in his truck at this point as well. When will it end? When the old bastard dies, the last wrench will go in his cold, dead hand so he can tighten bolts in hell, because I warned him. Gosh darn it, I warned him. Happy Father's Day to all of you with weird traditions, jokes, and relationships with the man who made you who you are today. And if you need a wrench, hit me up. I know a guy. I don't know about you, but I thought OP's commitment to this, let's call it a tradition, is commendable. The comments have some more details. Let's check those out. Potatoes Pancake said, "Gee, I wonder what he's leaving you in his will." Kickback Joe replied, "Probably a 10mm. At least my dad would." Security 6 said, "And to my smartass son who lost my 7/16 ratchet end wrench, I bequeath all of my 10mm sockets, if he can find them." Someone else said, "This is the most wholesome and loving malicious compliance I've read here." OP replied, "He's a good dude with a big heart and loves to joke and tease as much as I do. Life is short, and if it costs me $70 a year to show him how much I love him and to have an inside joke that everyone gets a kick out of, it's the tiniest of prices to pay." Common Requirement said, "Too bad Father's Day isn't in July, though I think you should just start to get him one on 7/16 as well. Ramp it up after 18 years. It's matured." OP replied, "Father's Day today, birthday October, Christmas, like clockwork." I hope you enjoyed that sweet dose of malicious compliance as much as I did. I think it has to be one of my faves. On to our last story. I have to pay for that 10-cent personal call charge? Done. Edit. So this story made Newsweek magazine. I am now like the girl you don't take home to mother in Super Freak. Back in the days before unlimited mobile phone calling plans and long distance, I had a company paid flip phone. There were all kinds of fussy rules attached to using it. No texting, even though texting was free. No long distance calls, with one exception, as I'll explain below. No special ringtones, and no using the camera. Like I said, fussy rules. The one exception to the no long distance calls rule was for travel. In my job, I rarely would have to travel to a different calling area, i.e., roaming. But if I did, I was permitted one long distance call per day to call home. That's it. So, the day came when I had to travel and stay overnight in a hotel for work. When I arrived at the hotel, I called my wife to let her know I arrived and spent a couple of minutes talking to my kids. Got some supper, did some work in front of the TV in the hotel room, and went to bed. The next day, while at the conference I was attending, I got a call from my home office. As I was in a large hotel, the call dropped, so I had to call back. Didn't think anything of it, went back to my session and enjoyed the speaker. Later, after I got back to the hotel, I called home to say goodnight to the kids. I got the answering machine and left a message. Didn't think anything of that either. The next day, I returned and went on with my life. At the end of the month, I got a call from finance. "Brother, it's finance supervisor. I'm just reviewing your latest cell phone bill and it shows an unauthorized long distance call." "Really? What was the date?" "April 3rd, you made a call to my office number at 9:20 a.m., then another one to my home number at 6:15 p.m." "Oh, yeah, that's when I was at a conference. The first call was to me from the office, but I got cut off and had to call back. I called home from the hotel later." "So, how would you like to reimburse us for the call?" "I beg your pardon?" "The second call. You have to reimburse for the unauthorized long distance call. You have an expense claim from the conference, and so I can deduct it from that, or you can pay directly." "How much are we talking about?" 10 cents. 10 cents? 10 cents. Would you like that deducted from your expense claim?" I thought I was being punked. Seriously. I sat in stunned silence for a few moments. "No. You know what? I'll pay you directly," I said, and wished the supervisor a pleasant day. I opened my drawer where I had some spare change, took 2 nickels, taped them to a sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper, and wrote, "For cell phone charge," and my name. I then took a company envelope, addressed it to the finance office in a different building walking distance away, folded the sheet of paper, and put it in the envelope. I put the envelope in the outgoing mail tray, the postage for which would be paid by the company. A few days later, I got a call from the controller herself, 3 pay grades above me, and usually wouldn't interact with someone on my level. Apparently, the supervisor complained about me. "What's with the nickels?" I explained the situation, told her the supervisor had insisted that I pay the 10-cent charge, and I complied. She laughed out loud. The paper, envelope, and postage had cost the company more than what they recovered. The following month, the finance department updated the cell phone policy. From then on, only long distance charges in excess of $10 had to be reimbursed. Love it. So good. The fact that the controller appreciated OP's point and the manner in which he made it makes this story all the better. This is one of those rare occasions when a stupid policy is actually changed. Now, onto some of the top comments. Project Upload said, "You just gave everyone in that company greater flexibility with phone calls." Big Crawley replied, "For 10 cents plus company paid postage, a fantastic return on investment." Someone else replied, 10 cents plus company paid postage plus company paid stationery. Paper ain't cheap. Dragon Bruce Lee Roy said, "Not just office supplies and postage, but imagine how much labor is lost over this issue. Lowball estimate of these 3 employees' hourly wages at the time, being at least $20 per hour each, discussing this topic for a minute each, comes out to at least $1 productivity wasted." The phrase, "stepping over dollars to pick up dimes," has never been more fitting. If you've enjoyed the story and would like to hear more, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thanks, and bye for now.